Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're going to make this pretty blessed mom wreath. We're going to start with our supplies, which is a work wreath form, which is normally not what I use, but we're going to try a new technique. Actually, we're just doubling the techniques, so I'll explain that as we go along. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use this gold and yellow or the pink, and this is going to be what we do a cruffle on. What we're going to do is poof on the bottom and then do a cruffle on the top, or a woodland ruffle. These are the florals. I mean, this kind of stuff is just as what you like, what you have, what's available. So it's not always you have to be specific to what I use, because this was a commissioned piece and the lady sent me a picture of what she wanted and the florals were all different. So just be yourself and pick what you like. On this work wreath frame, just get all the pipe cleaners poking up, and then we're going to poof. And basically I did a 10-inch poof, but sometimes the pipe cleaners are closer together, so I would do a little less because I wanted the poofs the same size even if they were close to one another. Hopefully that makes sense. And you can see I chose the pink, and then I decided I did not like it. It was way too much pink, so I took it apart and ended up using the yellow, which really, the yellow you didn't see so much as the gold, which really was a great base. But on these work forms, I think there's 16 or 17 pipe cleaners around it, and you just gather up your poof and put it in there. And I just twist it once because I'm going to be going back into those poofs many times, or those pipe cleaners many times. But it's so pretty. And then I cut these at 30 inches for the cruffle. And it's so much easier, just get it all cut up, and then you can go back and add them one at a time. And I definitely did add them one at a time because I didn't want to use another pipe cleaner to hold them together. So you just curl up one end, curl up the other end, and then just walk it to each other, crinkling in the middle. It's helpful to have a clip on the end, but sometimes I'll do it where I just hold it. But with this 10-inch mesh at 30 inches, it was a bit much. So I'll show you one more time here. Roll it in, clip it, and then roll it in again, and just walk it up. This becomes a very full, very pretty wreath. I love it. And I did, like I said, put it in each single time. You can see here I'm showing you that I end up changing it out to the yellow and gold. But yeah, if you put them in one at a time, I still just barely twisted it because I was going to add ribbons to each of them. But here it is, and like I said, so pretty, so full. Now we're going to add our ribbons. I cut these at 11. Pretty standard for me to do an 11-inch, and then by the time you dovetail it, it's about 10 inches for the wreath. If you have a real full wreath and you're going way back into it, you might want to go a little longer. I'm cheap. I like to keep it as simple and as little product as possible and still come up with a pretty wreath. Here I am just putting the smaller ribbon on top of the bigger ribbon and then opening it up again and putting the ribbon in. This time I did finish it off and push the pipe cleaners to the back. I only did half of the wreath because the other half is going to have the big bow and all the greenery, so there was no reason to put, twice as many ribbons in if they're just going to be covered up. And then at the end, I go in, and when it looked like it needed that extra, I added a couple of extra of that rose ribbon because it's so pretty. Couldn't have too much of that. Now when you're putting in your florals, you just put them in as you like them because it's to each person's taste. do a good mix and balance it one side to the other. I'm a symmetrical girl. That's why this wreath was a little hard, because all the greenery in the bow was on one side and then the sign was on the other. So it's pretty though. It's definitely outside of what I would make, but you know, somebody sends you a picture of something and you do the closest you can. Once all the greenery was in, off to the bow. And this bow is so easy, guys. And I did not record the actual bow I put in there, so I just redid it. So it's probably a little different. I didn't have any more of that ribbon with the white edges. But I measured these at 30 inches and cut them all. And then I measured 13 inches here to give us a 6-inch loop. And then just squish it together and leave your tail hanging down. And you can put more of the base ribbon. Always I try to do a 2.5-inch base ribbon, and then like 1.5-inch ribbons on top. And in the end, this looked a little smaller because it's being a wider ribbon. It just looked like the loops were smaller, so you might go 14 inches instead of 13. But then I put a pipe cleaner on it, and when I made the actual wreath and the bow on it, at this point, I just put that straight onto the wreath frame. And then I did the same with each color ribbon, because I don't like to put too many things together, because I try to make things easy for you guys. And so if you can do it in stages, then you don't have to hold everything with your hand. It's not as hard to manage. So at this point, like I said, when I'm making the wreath, I just put that. That's why I used whole pipe cleaners. And then just do the exact same thing with this ribbon. And it's really, again, it's 13 inches. That way you have a little inch at the end, and it's a 6-inch loop. And then just put it into your pipe cleaner. Like I said earlier, it's really, if you can take things and chunk them into manageable sections. Sometimes you could look at a bow like this and go, oh, that's just overwhelming. But if you know you have 3 different sections and you can manage each one individually, it makes it much easier. Now I dovetail the ends, except on the one that I'm going to do the curlicues. And on the curlicues, I like to just put an angle. And then the best way to do curlicues is just roll it up. And then you'll just come and kind of pull it down. Again, it's a really easy bow to make, and give it a try, because I think you'll have fun and you can be so creative with it. Guys, we are done. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you love the wreath as much as I do, and I will catch you on the next one.